Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
So you would like to know how to judgment. Let's talk about that.
The first step is to determine whether this is your personal judgment or the final judgment.
This is very important. You need to know what type of judgment you are currently experiencing so that you can understand how best to progress through it and deal with what it is that you are experiencing at this moment.
And you can find that out by asking yourself 3 simple questions. Question 1, did I just die and not have a personal judgment yet? Question 2, is absolutely everyone who has ever existed here as well?
So take a look around.
Question 3, am I in my underwear and also late for a test I never studied for in a class I don't remember taking?
If only one is true, congratulations. You have arrived at your personal judgment.
If question number 2 is true, also congratulations, you are at the final judgment.
If only question number 3 is correct, you are dreaming, and hopefully, having had this opportunity to now watch this video, you will be better prepared when your actual judgment comes along.
This is a Marley Scrooge situation. You have the ability to...
Correct, yes. And finally, if both questions 1 and 2 are true, you are currently, congratulations, you have managed to survive till the literal end of time and are now experiencing both your personal judgment and the final judgment at the same time. Unfortunately, this how-to is not going to help you because we will not be discussing that at this time. Please go and find the more appropriate video for you.
Now, let's assume that this is in fact your personal judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Please remember, preparation is the most important part of your particular judgment.
Absolutely. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you are already concerned for your eternal disposition and are making steps to help guide you through the process in advance, to be prepared for when you get there so that you've already got all your paperwork filled out and everything's in order and you're good to go.
You may have asked yourself questions such as, am I in fact going to die? Am I in denial of that fact?
Is this thing that I am doing right now something that I should be doing, or is it something that is perhaps hindering my relationship with God?
If I know what I'm doing is wrong and I persist in doing it, I'm clearly not in a state of grace.
That's correct. Now, ideally, remember, the big thing about being in a state of is about being in a state of grace at the moment of your death. Ideally, you would be keeping in this state regularly, but occasionally some inconsistencies occur, and things like confession or perfect act of contrition can go a long way to helping you get back on track.
It is important to note at this point that living in a state of grace is not entirely up to you. Yes, prepare and do your part, but recognize that it's principally a gift from God, and your role is to accept that gift, which is why we participate in the sacramental life of the church.
Now, if you are at your personal judgment, you might be asking yourself, what should I do? Because this is a question that's been asked many times, often in song formats, and we have good news for you. You don't need to think about this.
Yep.
As you are dead, essentially what you are as a human being has already been, you've done all the things you're doing as a living human being. So whatever you feel like you want to do is either reflective of the fact that you are a saint and holy.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Congratulations.
The fact that you are in the process of becoming a saint and not
You are in a state, you are in a friendship with God state, and you will simply need to have the lesser parts of your baggage, if you will, dealt with.
Yes, so whatever you want to do will at least be a good thing, if not the best thing. Or, in the worst case, everything you do is going to be wrong no matter what, because you are a member of the damned, having rejected God throughout your life, and especially in your last moments.
having refused the free offer of grace that he extended to you. Now, it's also important to note, as you're going to experiencing life differently than you ever have before, being, dead.
Yes. If this is just your particular judgment, at present, you are currently experiencing a state without your body.
Which is probably super weird at first.
We are human beings. We are not angels who are pure spirit. We are not rocks that are just bodies. We are a body-matter combo. And when your body is ripped apart from your spirit, it's very traumatic.
Yes.
But you're also beyond changing your mind. So whatever you've chosen in your life is what you'll get now.
Yeah. If you are experiencing the purgation, unfortunately, we can't give you a lot of a heads up on what that's going to be like. Nobody has ever... Lots of people have gone through it, as far as I understand. Nobody has ever actually come back with a definitive word as to what the experience is for any given particular individual.
Yes, and much like when we get later to heaven and hell, the Bible clearly notes these places exist, but then they get a little vague and symbolic on things,
It's probably going
like
to
a
be...
refiner's fire. It's like a...
Fuller's lie.
It's probably going to be a little unpleasant. But there's good news, because this unpleasantness is taking away all of the things that are currently standing in between you and a blessed state of grace.
Much like when our dog is very unhappy when we give her any sort of bath, even though she loves running around in water if it is not forced upon her.
It's basically just a context issue. We are temporal creatures. We're bodily creatures that live in time. So what is the process of purgation outside of time like?
Exactly. Now, perhaps you answered yes to question number 2, and this is your final judgment. Given that we're not going to be covering the whole double whammy personal final judgment situation,
That's a lot.
you've already been through the particular judgment.
And hopefully you got a good result.
Due to our helpful hints.
You'll be in a very large crowd, some of whom will be going off to the master's right, some of whom will be going off to the master's left. From our understanding of the scriptures, you very much want to be on the right. But again, at this point, you've already made that judge. You've already made that choice.
So one of 3 things is currently going on for you. Number 1, you are already enjoying the beatific vision and that blessed union with God as one of his saints.
Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, but it's fantastic.
From what we've been told, it beats everything else that you could ever possibly imagine, hands down.
I imagine it being like, everyone in heaven is going on a field trip to the final judgment, because you're like, okay, whatever we're doing.
It's even better than pie. Just think about that.
Yep.
It's even better than pie.
Possibility number 2. You are not at the beatific vision yet. However, you know that you're going to get there, and you are super psyched for it to happen.
So you're undergoing a process of purification. Based on the purgation that we experience in this life with our fastings and our mortifications, this is less than pleasant, but at least you know that definitively heaven is going to be yours. The beatific vision will be yours just as soon as you're finally purged of all those things that are displeasing to God.
Yes, and by most theological opinions, if not actual dogma, once the final judgment happens, no one then gets sent back to purgatory.
That's right.
Like you're now cleaned out, so you're good.
Your purgation will happen very quickly, which may or may not itch.
In the third case, So
let's just face facts.
Let's just be honest about it. You have made certain choices during your life and at the particular moment of your death, which have sort of cemented in place your choice, your willful decision to want to skip all of this beatific vision purgation stuff.
You have listened to the wisdom, or lack thereof, of one Frank Sinatra, and you have done things your way. Well, congratulations. You are now definitively separated from the one who created you, the one who is the fulfillment of every desire of your heart.
Yep.
I mean, as a sort of plus, everyone who's in hell chose it, so you're probably happy about this in a way.
Or at the very least, in all likelihood,
You got what
you
you
are
wanted.
you are not necessarily regretting your choice. To put it in the terms of that one line from Cool Hand Luke, you wanted, you got.
As terrible, terrible, terrible as what you got is.
Mm-hmm. Some folks you just can't reach.
So, you are going to face judgment. We hope that these tips that we've given you over the last few minutes have provided necessary context for you to know how to behave in the moments before that judgment.
Yes. Just remember, once you get there, everything else that was before is kind of locked in.
It's all about preparation. If you wait until you're at your judgment, it's too late. But follow these handy-dandy steps provided in our how-to guide, and we're reasonably confident that your judgment will go smoothly.
You know, it's kind of like
At least
trip.
overall well.
It's kind of like a trip.
Again, the itching. Yeah.
It's kind of like a trip to the Secretary of State, or in those states that don't have one, the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
In that, if you came prepared with everything you needed,
Did I bring my license? Did I bring my proof of insurance?
you called ahead, you scheduled your appointment, you show up, you got your stuff done, you're out the door. Maybe you don't have everything, but you got most of your stuff. You didn't schedule an appointment. You might have to wait a little bit in the waiting room, but you know that once you get up there to the head of the line, you're going to give them your stuff. They're going to give you what little bit of other things you need in order to get this whole thing taken care of. And when it's all done, you got what you need. You got what you came here for, and you're on your way out the door. If by some chance you didn't prepare, or you prepared poorly, you may very well be stuck in a bureaucratic hellhole for a really long time.
In our state, when you have to take the online test, because you don't have to write it in paper now, it's online, it shows up red or green how you answered. So when waiting for the one child to fill out their one, I was watching the guy next to it. Red after red after red. And overhear him talk about how he failed again.
Well, and
He prepared poorly.
when it comes to the judgment, you only get the one chance.
Yeah, there's no retakes.
There's no retake in 30 days.
There's no redo.
So, as we said, hopefully this has helped you. Please go down below and grade this how-to on a scale of 1 to 10. 10 being, this was really helpful. 1 being, I didn't find this helpful at all.
Do you have any tips or tricks that we can incorporate into further how-to instructionals?
Further how-to instructionals.
Yes.
Perhaps there are other how-tos that they would like us to consider putting together. Leave those comments down below.
Eternal life hacks.
Yep. While you're down there, make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell next to it so you get notified when new how-to videos come out.
And our next video on the final floor will be on hell. So maybe you're like, I think you're selling hell short.
I think this hell thing's been given a bad rap.
Maybe there are positive aspects that we haven't considered. Our guest next time will illuminate.
Illuminate.
That's a generous word.
Well, Nate, one day I hope you really have the opportunity to interact with him the way that Jess and I get to. And
look, it's not my fault. Every time he can be here, I've got to be out of town.
I know, and I know that he's your friend, but just on video, he's a trip.
Oh,
which is why he's our pilgrimage advisor.
He's an excellent guy. You'll love him. Come back for the next one. It'll be fantastic. And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love. I don't know why you don't like him. We
really should make a how-to guide on how to live your faith, love your faith, and share that.
Jesus God Bible.
It's not that I don't like him. I'm simply saying he's an experience.